Have you ever wondered why good, loving, and loyal people sometimes cross boundaries they swore they'd never cross? Why, even with a cozy home, healthy children, and a faithful partner, someone feels like something is missing. You might hesitate to admit it out loud, but deep inside, there's a part of you that senses this unease, something invisible to others, but felt deeply when you lie in bed at night, realizing the warmth beside you no longer soothes your soul. This video promises to uncover, with liberating honesty and profound insight, the true cause of marital infidelity according to Jungian psychology. Not to justify it, but to understand it, not to encourage it, but to heal. Because perhaps what you call infidelity is actually a cry from your soul for itself. Today, hundreds of thousands of people go to bed next to their spouses but think of someone else, not necessarily craving another's body, but longing for a part of themselves that seems to have vanished over time. And here's the scariest part. Many of these people still love their families. They're grateful, attentive, caring, but inside them something is stifled, a void that no routine can fill. Have you ever felt this? That sense of constriction that's neither sadness nor joy, but a feeling that life is too perfect, too predictable, too sterile, like a flawless room with no one in it. Society tells us that those who cheat are selfish, malicious, or natural betrayers. But what if infidelity is a mirror of something far deeper? What if it reflects what we've let die within ourselves to fit the role of a good husband, a good wife, a model parent, or a dutiful child? Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology, argued that infidelity is rarely about love or sexual attraction. For him, it's a symbol of the part of us buried under layers of obligations, social norms, and suffocating routines. When someone cheats, they're often not seeking another person, but trying to find themselves. Hard to accept, isn't it? But think about it. How many times in the past few months have you truly laughed? How often have you felt drawn to life itself, not just to another person's body? How many times have you felt someone looking at you and seeing not just your responsibilities, but your soul? Yamada, 48, lives in Tokyo, married for 12 years, loves his wife and children, never raised his voice, never showed up late, never forgot a birthday. But one day he found himself with Matsui, a colleague who wasn't prettier or younger than his wife. She simply listened, laughed, and asked questions his wife hadn't asked in years. With her, he felt alive, not in love with her, but with the person he was when he was with her. Do you see? It wasn't about her. It was about him, about the part of his identity he'd left behind in his quest to be the perfect man. Jung called this the shadow, all that we hide from ourselves to be accepted, all that we don't live out because it's inappropriate, unexpected, or inconvenient. The shadow isn't evil, it's your suppressed joy, your freedom, your creative spark, your need to be seen as a whole person, not just a functional cog in the machine of life. Here's a question that might hit home. Are you true to your essence, or are you just following a script written for you? Tanaka, 43, spent 20 years being the perfect wife. She never said no, even when exhausted, smiled, even when sad, cooked her husband's favorite meal, even when she didn't want to. She let him touch her, but never put her own desires first. Then one day, a yoga teacher asked her, "What do you want?" She froze because no one had ever asked her that. And when she asked herself, she realized she didn't know the answer. She'd become a character, quiet, functional, submissive. But inside her screamed another woman, yearning for authenticity. That woman is Jung's shadow. And when that shadow finds a crack, a glance, a conversation, a message, it breaks free, not to destroy, but to declare, "I exist too." What if, deep down, infidelity is a desperate attempt to reclaim lost parts of yourself? Sato, 50, has worked at the same company for 25 years. Everyone knows him as reliable. He never refused a request, never missed a deadline. But at night, he cried, listening to classical music, remembering his abandoned dream of becoming a musician. One day, at a meeting with a French colleague, He heard a question no one had asked him in decades. What do you love to do besides work? He spoke about music, about dreams, and for a moment he felt seen, not as an exemplary employee, but as a person still alive behind the tie. This is intimacy. It's not about sex. It's about being seen, recognized as a whole person with your light, shadows, desires, fears, and dreams. How many marriages in Japan and around the world still offer this? Suzu, 46, dines with his wife and children every night, but at the table, he feels lonelier than when he's alone. No one there knows he fears the future, that he has a silly dream of changing careers, that he's tired but can't say it. One day in a cafe, a stranger asked, "Are you okay?" He smiled, but when she pressed, he nearly cried. Here's the paradox. We live surrounded by people, yet we lack space to express what truly matters. Have you ever felt that people love the version of you that you play, but have no idea who you really are? Kimura, married for 18 years, follows all the traditions of Japanese marriage. She wakes up early, prepares bento, reheats dinner, performs her role flawlessly. But life has become like a theatrical play with predictable lines. One day at a cooking class, a man asked, "What flavor do you prefer?" It was the first time in nearly 20 years that someone wanted to know what she liked, not what she did for others. It's touching, isn't it? Because deep down, we all want to be loved for who we are, not just for what we give. Jung said that the greatest hunger of a person isn't for food or pleasure, but to be seen, truly seen and loved with all their flaws, fears, and desires. That's why most affairs begin after 40. It's not a crisis, it's an awakening. The soul says, "Now it's my turn." But this search can become dangerous if it's not conscious. When you seek outside what you've lost inside, you risk hurting not only yourself, but those you love. Yet, what if this pain, this unease, this deviation is actually an invitation? A call to pause, reflect, and ask, what part of myself have I buried to live this life? And is there still time to reclaim it without destroying everything around me? The answer, as you'll see, can transform not only your personal life, but your relationship with yourself. Have you ever felt that you're doing everything right, but something inside feels off? You wake up, fulfill your duties, manage work, care for your home, help those in need, and yet, at the end of the day, when silence falls, something within feels incomplete. It's not sadness or loneliness, but as if you're missing from your own life. Isn't it curious how modern life demands so much from us, yet offers so little space to ask, who am I now? At 30, 40, 50, after so many sacrifices, after striving to fit every role, where did that part of you go? The one that dreamed, created, desired, without asking permission. Is it still there, or is it locked away in the attic of your soul, hidden so carefully you've forgotten where the key is? Carl Jung called this the shadow, not in a negative sense, but as a symbol of everything we suppress to meet the world's expectations. The shadow is your stifled desires, abandoned dreams, emotions deemed inappropriate. It doesn't vanish. It hides, and sooner or later, it starts to whisper. It whispers when you envy someone living more freely, when a movie about starting over stirs you, when you feel anger without knowing why, or when you look in the mirror and don't recognize yourself. In Japanese culture, as in many others, those who stray from what's right bear an even heavier burden. From childhood, we're taught to be reserved, polite, diligent, not to complain or show feelings too openly. The problem is that by hiding who we are, we end up forgetting who we are. Uchi, 56, worked his whole life as a manager at an insurance company. Respected, honest, known for his patience, he never raised his voice, always arrived first and left last. But at home, his eyes are empty. His wife says he's on autopilot. His children barely remember the last time he genuinely smiled. One evening, he stopped by a small bar. The waitress, handing him a glass of sake, asked, "Are you okay?" That question, asked with kindness, melted something inside him. For the first time in years, he felt someone saw him, not his position, not his label, but the person. And without understanding why, he felt tears well up. This is the power of the shadow. It emerges when someone sees us acknowledges the pain, exhaustion, or emptiness we hide even from ourselves. Make no mistake, infidelity, affairs, the urge to escape to another life, these are often desperate expressions of the shadow begging for attention. We don't want another person. We want the reflection of who we were before we got lost in life's demands. Miyuki, 41, a mother of 2 teenagers, devoted the last 17 years to her family. She gave up her beloved job to manage the household, raise children, keep everything in order. Her routine is impeccable, but looking in the mirror, she sees someone who doesn't know what they like to eat, can't recall the last book they read for pleasure, or whether they're still capable of falling in love with anything beyond duties. One day at a parent-teacher meeting, she met a literature teacher who mentioned a Murakami book she loved in her youth. It was a simple conversation, but that evening, she reread passages from the book, hiding in the bathroom, quietly crying, not for him, but because for the first time in years, she felt alive. That's the crux. The other person is just a mirror, a trigger, a channel for something far deeper, a reunion with what we've forgotten in ourselves. But why did we forget? Because we live surrounded by demands. Society teaches that being good means staying silent, that being mature means giving up on yourself, that being strong means needing nothing. And that, friends, wounds the soul. Yoshida, 63, a retiree, lives with his wife in a quiet apartment after their children moved out. He realized he no longer knows how to talk to her. For years, their conversations revolved around daily matters, bills, meals, kids. Now, alone together, they eat in silence, not from a lack of love, but because they've forgotten how to see and hear each other as people, not just partners in routine. Jung would say that love dies not from a lack of feelings, but from a lack of awareness. That's why, in 2025, so many people who've achieved everything, home, family, stability, feel like they're drowning inside. The soul isn't nourished by accomplishments alone. It needs meaning, true presence. Do you recognize yourself in this? Have you ever felt your life has become too small for who you truly are? Have you felt you're shrinking each day to meet others' expectations? You're not alone. And the most important thing is, there's still time. Time to remember who you were before fear, guilt, or the need to be accepted at all costs took over. Time to reclaim that part of you that laughed loudly, desired passionately, wrote poetry or sang in the shower, trembled at the sight of the sea, or felt awe gazing at the sky. In the end, that part is still there, waiting, silent, but alive.